First of all, I would like to say the title isn't clickbait. This actually happened. Well, technically, it's an ex user, if you get me. So he's coming back from using, he's rehabilitating, doing better. So it's not really clickbait. It's just something that happened to happen. So yeah, so he said he's recovering for at least a month now, and let's tell you how the day went. Okay, so this was this is kind of in line with what I said I was going to do in the last video, where I said I was going to go around and take some pictures. So this was while I was doing that. And what happened is that I couldn't really go that far because, I kind of got caught up with this. While I was taking photos, I ran into the person of interest. And I think I just displayed the pictures over here while I ran. So while I was outside, I went out with my dog at first, and take some photos of her, but she wasn't complying. We didn't train her. Nah. So like after like some shots, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling this. So I sent Queen back. Oh, I didn't send her back. I dropped her off. And then I started the actual photography. So what I was planning to do was take some stock photos to monetize in a way. So that was the goal I was going for in the pictures. So they're looking a little bit like stock-ish, like basic, but that's what I was going for. So while I was walking, maybe 10 minutes in, some guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hi, hello." And I didn't want to be rude. So I just said hi back. So anyways, he comes up to me, he says something like, "Oh, I don't want to interrupt what you're doing or anything, but like I just wanted to talk to you." And at first I was like, that's weird, right? And then he was like, "Oh no, we're both guys, so it's not even like that." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want to talk to me about?" I was like, "Okay, so he's an ex crackhead, used to do crack." And I was like, "Okay." Then he goes proceeds to say, "Oh no, it's fine." And usually people just like get off put by that or like they run away, but he's cleaned up now. And I looked at him and he looked like he was doing better. He wasn't putting that much on. He was like kind of short. So he wasn't like he just goes and talks to random people. And I was like, "Is that true?" Whatever. So he said he was talking to random people, right? And basically, I was just, I was like, okay, pop off. I'm open minded, so I'm not going to like shoo. I just said, pop off. What do you want to talk about? But like I'm taking photos, so like it has to be while I'm taking photos because like I did not plan for you to like, yeah, you're not interrupting what I'm doing. So he was like, oh, cool. He didn't have anything he was doing either, really. So we started walking together, and what he started talking to me about was basically his whole crack journey. So yeah, that's all. Yeah. Okay, so like I'm going to. He didn't say it in chronological order, but I'm going to like arrange it from what I understand, like how I understand the story goes. So okay, he says he's a graduate from university and he graduated in business admin, this and that. When he graduated, he didn't have a job, but like he wasn't looking for a job because he was doing like fraud, scamming, a whole business. Like he was robbing white people, essentially. So he had someone abroad that would pick up clients for him, and he would just, do the do, if you get me, scam people. So that's what he was doing. And while he was doing it, he was making money from it. So he really didn't see a point in where go for a job, right? He didn't have any reason to go find a job. He was unemployed, but he was making money, so there was no reason to find a job. So fine. He was scamming people, making money, whatever. Then he goes to say how he wish he spent his money wisely. But what he actually did was that so at some point, right, every Friday he would make money. So money would come in. And it was about $600. I don't know, depending on who you are, that's not a lot, but like to me, that's a lot because in Nigeria, $600 is a lot of money. That coming in every week on a weekly basis, that adds up, right? So he was making $600 a week. What did he do with that money? He spent it. He spent it on his guys, he spent it on women, he spent it on drugs, but he wasn't doing like cocaine. He wasn't spending money on himself anymore. He was spending money on his guys. You get what I'm saying? Like his people. So as the story goes, from what I understand, one week he got introduced to crack, and obviously it doesn't start like immediately, but like he said that from the first time he took it, he needed more. So like don't do it. Because like it's not one of those things you experiment with. It's just don't do it. Like crack is just fucked up. So he started doing it, and what he said was that he made it a point to explain the difference between crack and cocaine, because I understood them as like the same thing in a way. Like crack was just a slang for cocaine, but apparently crack is different and it's like more. I can't even explain it. After I started doing crack, he said from there was just a downward spiral. Like he started like stealing shit, robbing people, taking from his parents, taking from this. So like once you get hooked on it, it's like you're always like beating for your next hit. You're like "Argh," aggressive, like a menace to society. And then he started like robbing shit. He sold his phone. All his money just went towards crack cocaine. I'm like $600 a week. I just put that in crack cocaine. Really, nigga? Said he gave away his property, this and that. Basically, he was broke and he became homeless. So I think he ran from home. I'm not sure exactly, but by the time he told me when he was coming back to look for his parents, they went where he left them. So he was gone for 9 years. I believe that's what he said. He was gone for 9 years. When he came back to look for his parents, they went where he lived before. So he had to go find them. Lots of this and that. He then talks about what it's like to have be on track. Like it's just like the best thing ever. Like you think that in that moment, that the moment will last forever, but it doesn't. And that's like an issue with all these things. Like it's just so fickle. It doesn't last forever, and there's no long term in it. Like you're not looking in the long term because in that moment you just feel so euphoric that you can't even explain. Obviously, he didn't say it like this because like I won't say he wasn't well spoken, but he wasn't like as well spoken. But I just like kind of inferred what he was talking about. It's kind of sad, yeah. So whole time I was just listening and waiting for the cat to like, oh, you want something, don't you? Does that make sense? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is part of your therapy, it's part of your, it's how you rehabilitate, right? Okay, so 30 minutes after we started walking and talking, right? He then talks about how he got off it in the first place. So what he said was he was using it in like a crack house, right? When I say that crack house, he was using it in a crack house, and then this lady walks in. This lady walks in, and then she's with like a little girl, right? And then she's like beaming for the crack, like this is what I imagine would happen in the crack house. Yeah. So she's like feeling for it. And then she goes up to the guy that's dealing it, and then she's like, here, and it's just hands to the little girl. And he was like bewildered, like whose child is that? And he looks at them closely and it's like, yo, they're related. Like there's no way they're really they look alike. They're related, right? And then he's just like, and then he's smoking the joint, right? And then what he told me is that he just like boots it to the ground, and then everyone around him, because like it's a crack house, right? Everyone around him, I think they're just like so used to it, or like they were just looking at him like, oh, he's finally lost it, right? He's crazy now, like he's done. But he was like in his mind, he knew that this was just too fucked up, because like he had given everything for collateral, but like for him to see someone else give away that child as collateral for you know a drug. Yeah, it's just like so fucked up. So he was like, from then on, he said that he needs help. He needs to like find people that can help him rehabilitate. So that's when he went to go find his parents, this and that, and now he's living in my estate, which is um cool. So yeah, same with his parents. But what he told me is that his parents don't fund him because like they're afraid, like they don't trust him to not like go spend it all on crack cocaine because like what he did in the past. And he said yeah, he knows it's his fault and he's like trying to make up for it. But like like a battle with addiction is never easy. But I just try to be considerate. So I gave him something. I gave him raw ingredients. I gave him my spaghetti. I gave him my last spaghetti. So yeah, my spaghetti. So we kept talking, and then he starts going off about one of his old, I don't know, stocks, maybe. I don't know. He doesn't spend it. That's the goal of the story. He doesn't spend it, he saves it, and then he then buys the house, and then he cashes out one time for like. Then instead of the little fraud that this guy he was doing at first, he then moved on to like the more advanced fraud, which is like basically robbing organizations. And then cashed out with like $48 million, and then that was the last he heard of him. And now he has like 3 islands and 3 big houses elsewhere, and like property and this and that. Basically, what I got from the story was that I should probably start doing fraud, but like I'll get caught because I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I don't know. But also invest your money. I don't know. There's a lot of lessons to like take from this dude. So I was just listening, like, oh, wisdom from unexpected places. I guess I don't know type shit. But all things considered, yeah, it was kind of a very okay conversation. Okay, then we went to talk about drug abuse in general and like how it's usually not a good idea, but in moderation, some substances can be used for like creative purposes and they are actually good for that. Like we talk about loud or weed, marijuana, pot, talk about like, weed. And then he says, oh, he knows where to get some actually. But like this and that, he doesn't really use it for like the same, like he doesn't use it for anything, but he knows where to get some and like it's kind of better than crack cocaine because it's not as addictive and it actually has a useful purpose. So it's like it's not saying drugs are bad or anything, but it depends on how you're using it. And I was like, that's cool. Then he then says like, oh, like for your photography, right? Because I was still taking pictures the whole time. And I was like, yeah. It was like you just take some nice creative shots, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So you know where to get weed, and then he was like, yeah, I know where to get weed, and I was like, okay, yeah, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a responsible adult. I don't do drugs. So, what's the moral of the story? What's the takeaway here? What's the lesson? I don't know. You're an adult. Figure it out. I hope you're an adult. But I think the key takeaway is that I know where to get weed from now. Bye. What else do I want to talk about? Look at the drawing I've been doing the whole time. Yeah.
Hang on, we can resume teacher.